Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
1 to 3% of Americans say that they've been abducted by aliens.
1 to 3?
You know
That's a huge
high,
percentage, dude.
That is 3 to 10 million Americans that have been abducted. But what's so weird about all these accounts is that there's always something with fertilization. Females have talked about they are implanted with like an alien baby, but then they're re-abducted again and the baby's taken out. And so if you think of the fallen angels mating with the women of the earth and producing these Nephilim, are they at this point now to where it's like, okay, well, we can't have 15-foot giants walking around because that's pretty obvious. So are we going to make them different with genetic coding? There's one account, I think it was from Payne Lindsay. They talked about this lady saw this room with like different vessels of like super alien looking to very human looking. So it's like they've been like testing the genetic code kind of stuff.
Well, it's strange, like even you think about like the telepathic talking. The most confirmed alien abductions have similarities where they're doing telepathic talking, and also you do that with angels with near-death experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap.
I've never really heard this theorized this way. Maybe the aliens among us are the products of forced fertilization of female abductees. They also have the reports of men claiming that the aliens took sperm samples from them. Maybe they use that to mix with their DNA to create a human-alien hybrid that can come to term with a human appearance. I have no clue, of course, if there are even aliens among us, but the claim has certainly been made, and this would be a good explanation of how that's happened. Now, I gotta say before we roll into this next clip, I don't know if this is true. This is just some lady making a claim, so I'll let you decide how serious to take it.
This celebrity exposes everyone who's on the Diddy tapes.
I'm gonna tell you who I believe is on the tapes. I believe Barack Obama got a tape.
Yeah, he playing hide the hot dog.
I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
I know Beyonce got a tape.
Ooh.
I definitely know they probably recycled some old Stevie J and Eve stuff. I know Drake got a tape. I know Rihanna got a tape. I know Chris Brown was on one of them tapes.
Wow.
I know Trey Songz has been like a supporting actor in many freak-off film. Definitely Usher. I think what would shock people are the politicians and the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are gonna be honest about their freak-off tape.
Yeah.
I don't think
Who isn't on the freak-off tapes?
About the fact that the royal family had
That's crazy.
any time at Diddy party, especially that weirdo uncle.
None of this would be surprising, but I can't help but wonder, are we actually going to see some of these people get exposed? The way they're talking, Diddy recorded all this footage of people doing bad things so he could use it as a form of blackmail for protection. Sort of a keep your mouth shut and nobody sees your tape kind of situation. So if that's true and Diddy is going down anyways, what's to stop him from exposing everybody else to take the heat off of himself? He certainly strikes me as the type to start singing to the police to save his own butt.
What are you thinking about all this alien stuff going
I
on?
remember my buddy brought me a book about the Nephilim in the Bible and this being an explanation for aliens.
Yeah.
I think it's the most logical conclusion. The part I wrestle with is it seems like around the time of Noah, they were supposed to be killed off.
That was the whole point of the flood.
So then I started thinking maybe the physical beings died and then now their spirits are in a different realm. And so what we're dealing with isn't physical beings, we're dealing with a different dimension.
Have you read the Book of Enoch?
Parts of it.
So I mean, that's how they explain evil spirits and demons, is that it's the spirit of the Nephilim. So they died and they became these wandering spirits. And when Christ talks about his return, it'll be like the days of Noah. I'm fully convinced that it's going to be like the days of Noah, which is the Nephilim, all the weird stuff that's going to start appearing again.
The stuff that in Noah's day was physical, but in our days is transitioning from the spiritual realm into the physical realm. That there's a spirit in the air. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but the spirit becomes more and more pervasive. And then it's physically breaking into our realm through all of the recent sightings and videos coming out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My main problem with this being the explanation is that we know they're flying physical crafts. We have footage of it, and they've interacted with our planes and stuff before. I can't imagine why a spiritual being would need a physical spacecraft, unless through the simple explanation of we don't understand true reality, maybe these things have the ability to phase in and out of physical form, and when they're in the physical form, they need physical transportation. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think this one makes any sense. Hey, If you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
A video is currently trending that shows multiple Tesla vehicles self-driving and parked in an abandoned parking lot. Check it out real quick.
What the heck is going on? Trunk is open. Guys, look at all these Cybertrucks and Teslas. No one's driving that?
Nobody in that?
No one is in that car.
Nobody walked over here. Wait. There's nobody in these. What the heck? That car just sped off. There's no one in it.
Now, a lot of people in the comments were talking about how this reminded them of a scene from the movie Leave the World Behind. And while reviewing that scene, I came across a pretty wild theory that was being discussed in the comments. The theory suggests that brand new Teslas are purposely being sent to abandoned lots so that if there's ever a state of emergency or a state of panic, these vehicles could be remotely activated and sent to main highways and roads in order to block them off in an attempt to maintain order or control. Now, that's obviously just a theory and there's no hard evidence behind it, but some people still find it suspicious that these cars appear to be brand new and still have power, as well as there being an unusually large amount of Cybertrucks, which are promoted as having windows and an exterior that's supposed to be impenetrable to multiple weapons. Regardless, it's pretty strange, but leave a like and let me know what you think about all this in the comments.
I don't even have a guess as to what's going on here, but I will say that I think his theory that they're on standby to start blocking off roads and stuff to control the flow of traffic and emergencies is ridiculous. No offense to that guy, but he's forgetting that the federal government absolutely despises Elon Musk. There's no way they would have some secret agreement to use Teslas to control the population. First of all, I don't think Elon would agree to that. And second, if the federal government wanted to enact a program like this, they have many other car manufacturers that they could go to who would likely fall right in line with it because, unlike Tesla, they get handouts from the government.
This is what an AR-15 sounds like. General Mark Hertling served in the U.S. Army for 37 years, so he knows what the AR-15, which used to be a weapon of war, can do.
So the AR-15 has never been in war. But can we talk about something more important here? This guy says he's been in the Army for 37 years. You tell me that a soldier that's been in the Army for 37 years holds a rifle like that. He looks like he's a virgin, like it's his first time.
Originally built for the battlefield, a defining characteristic of the AR-15 is the speed and power of the bullet.
If I wanted to fire this on full semi-automatic, all I do is keep firing.
Okay, now I know for sure he was never in the Army. Nobody ever says full semi-automatic unless you're trying to push some propaganda. Nobody in the Army says full semi-automatic. Come on.
It's a weapon designed to inflict maximum damage.
Look at that grouping. Helen Keller could have done a better job.
Yeah, that guy actually looked scared to me, like he'd never even heard a gun go off before. It's funny to me how people will put their entire career on the line and go on national television and tell lie after lie to convince you to think a certain way. These people have no shame. That man, at the very least, knows that he's lying about those guns being used in war. And he's willing to look like a complete fool to the public so long as he convinces a couple people out there that gun rights are bad.
Where's our government right now? Because, guys, that's North Carolina over there. I'm in Tennessee, and I just read and saw a video where they said that people and their whole beings were laying all over the ground, and the smell was, like, horrific, and nobody can get in there. Nobody's going over there. What is going on? Why isn't the government helping? This is worse than anybody even expected or even knows, because none of the news channels are even reporting on this except for like TikTok. That's it. What is going on? These people need help. They need help over North Carolina. They need the government to come in with the military. What is going on? Why aren't they helping? There is literally a stink happening because there's so many beings laying everywhere. I'm just so infuriated right now and angry, you guys. Where's the government? I mean, if the government really wanted to help, dude, there would be helicopters and you know, military just everywhere. There's none. There's none. What is going on?
I'm not going to comment on the government's response because I honestly just don't know what all they're doing right now for the people of North Carolina, Georgia, or Florida. But I will say this, no matter what they're doing, it likely isn't enough. The videos coming out of North Carolina don't even look like inhabited areas. The roads are just completely washed away. There's people in the mountains out there with no water, no food, no shelter, no means of transportation, and they can't even hike out on foot because all the roads are gone. That woman is right though. With as many people that are stranded out there, you would expect to see a massive fleet of helicopters all over those mountains trying to rescue people. Where are they at?
News sources and creators have been talking about the potential of a massive dock strike, but now it's coming out that it is certain to happen by midnight. Most of you already know this, but a strike this massive, specifically for members of the ILA, would cause 36 docks to shut down, which are responsible for handling about half of the shipped goods that come in and out of the US. And it's estimated that the US economy would lose $5 billion daily during the strike. Now, the main explanation that we're given for this dock strike is because the workers are requesting higher pay. However, there are some people coming up with theories about a deeper meaning behind all this. This specifically has to do with a second request that the dock workers made, in which they requested a 100% ban on robots or automation on the job site. According to this theory, the reason why a new contract was not agreed upon is because there was a plan to replace most, if not all, of the dock workers with machine and automation, and a ban on automations would obviously get in the way of that plan. Even though that's just speculation, other major organizations like Amazon, for example, have already apparently replaced tens of thousands of jobs with robots, so maybe they're onto something.
The leader of that union ain't backing down either. He literally threatened that he'll get what he wants for his men or he'll cripple the country. I don't know what the answer is here, but that's a lot of power in the hands of one man who wasn't elected into office by the American people. One union leader shouldn't have the ability to cripple the U.S. economy. Something needs to be done about this.
That right there is a blue parrotfish caught here.
If you're the type of person that enjoys the beach, I'm gonna change that for you. Meet the parrotfish. It's basically a 100-pound armored fish that's only found in tropical regions. I'm jealous. Now, the first thing you'll notice about them is the fact that they have a beak, like a bird beak, hence the name parrotfish. And they use that beak to eat rocks and coral reef. And this is where things get weird. When they eat the coral reef, it can't all be digested. So the rest just gets pooped out. But the thing is, the parrotfish poops out sand. That's sand. They poop sand, and a lot of sand too, like a lot. One parrotfish can expel 1,000 pounds of sand a year. In fact, 70% of all white sand beaches in the Caribbean and in Hawaii are made by parrotfish. Keep that in your mind the next time you say, I want the sand between my toes. And as always, follow for more facts.
I just thought this was interesting and wanted to share it. The next time you go to the ocean and cover yourself with sand, remember, you're covering yourself with fishy feces.
So why are they trying to Trump? Well, it's very simple. Follow the money. As we record this on this Sunday in New York City, the United Nations is meeting to vote on their new plan for all of us. It's called the Pact for the Future. And they've kept it hidden from you, of course. But this new plan by the United Nations would essentially take the power out of our country's hands, place them into a global governing body, the United Nations. Call it UN 2.0. They'll tell us what to eat. They'll tell us how we travel. Oh, your carbon footprint, you traveled too much this month. Sorry, you can't go and visit grandma up in Nantucket. How we conduct our finances, controlled by the World Bank and the IMF. This is happening in New York this weekend.
I don't know much about this one, but I've been hearing for years now that they want to do this. I don't know if this is another video that's just trying to scare us or if this is actually really happening, but I haven't been misled by Redacted in the past that I'm aware of. My main question here is, how do they intend to get us to all go along with it when none of us recognize the authority of the UN?
Okay. But they never serve any food.
Interesting.
And I don't understand that.
The baby buffet? What?
Yeah, eat blood drinkers is really
I have no evidence of that at all.
I don't either, but it seems like it's...
Yeah.
What's the difference between believing that people might...
There's no evidence of any of that. It's just all speculation. But a lot of clues and stuff everywhere. And I mean, we know this. If you look up this company called Ambrosia, they're out in the open and they're talking about how teen blood transfused into older people. When they get transfused with teen blood, that they have like miraculous results. And this is a place you can go to get.
Are you kidding? Ambrosia.
Ambrosia. Look, put the clip up. It's it's out there, so it's real. It's real.
Ambrosia is the company.
You got it right there.
I think so.
My God.
Yeah.
Harvesting
There should
the
be a
blood
video.
young.
Look at that. Harvesting the blood. That's
Oh
real.
my God.
I mean,
Wow.
Monterey, California. Of course, it's in California.
And there's a
Video.
trailer for it. Or
I red pill moments where in the 90s when I got famous and all the kids here in Hollywood, whenever they'd see me, I was helping kids. They start telling me what's going on. That was
What?
my red pill. Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Little
Hollywood kids would tell you what was going on.
kids who came to Hollywood from abusive families or were trafficked here
Teen remedies.
that we helped get off the streets and away from their, with Dr. Lois Lee of Children of the Night. And yeah, they'd tell us what they had lived through. And first you're like, and then after you hear it 15,000 times the very same way, you're like, oh, wait.
These weren't kids that were in Hollywood. They were kids that were just in the traffic.
Hollywood Boulevard, like teen
Hollywood
remedies.
Boulevard.
Oh, Hollywood Boulevard.
Uh-huh.
And what was the main theme? What was the main thing they said?
Pretty much describe the Matrix. Do you know what I mean? This is how it works. And it's all like, business. That's what makes the whole world go around.
Yeah.
That's the real economy.
Yeah.
They got everything so it looks good in the window, but that's what they're doing.
That's the real economy? Wow, what a powerful way to put it. I feel like the world's just starting to wake up to just how significant the problem of child and human trafficking really is. But apparently it was just as bad a problem back in the 80s and 90s. We just weren't being told about it. I feel like this is the #1 problem in the world that needs to be fixed. It's mind-blowing how little resources actually go into combating it.
Well, it happened. The ports on all of the East Coast and the Gulf Coast closed down. And this literally comes on the tail of that same area getting demolished. Now, I'm not saying that there's some funny business going on here. It might actually just be the port workers going on strike. But the timing of it just seems too coincidental to me, especially coming on the heels of this area getting decimated and probably in need of a lot of extra supplies. And especially after my friend Greg sent me a list of 100 patents for weather modification and seeing that this pulse happened right near the hurricane area. Now, of course, I know these patents don't actually exist. But what if they did? What if they could control the weather? And then what if they set up a perfectly timed strike to cause chaos in the East Coast? And what if this is the beginning of what they have been programming for the past year or two? And with the elections coming up and the way the news seems to be covering it, like not covering it very much, it makes me think that they're waiting for the right moment to just drop the bomb and make everyone panic. But I just want every single person to keep this in mind and keep the fact that they are programming this in our minds. Stay calm and don't panic and don't stress. And remember to be kind to your neighbor and just love everybody. Because whether it's now or soon, I'm telling you, they're programming us for something where we're all button heads. But instead, we need to turn our attention to the real problem. And if you watch my videos, you know who the real problem is. But like I said in the beginning, I'm sure this is just those workers wanting more wages. And I'm hoping that's all it is, and then it gets resolved real fast. Fingers crossed. Entertainment only.
So I guess the theory or implication here is that the government is creating these storms to intentionally hit these ports while they're backed up with cargo that's not being unloaded. Or is it that they just want to destroy the economy further? I think this idea is a bit far-fetched personally, but I will say this. When the federal government drags their feet on responding to emergency situations, it makes it look like they either don't care or that they think it plays in their favor.
They are planning to take out our power grid. Listen very carefully, because you might not hear this information anywhere else.
Russia and China are working together, and they planned on undermining the United States and they essentially want to wipe out the United States. That's in their master plan.
And that comes from taking out our power grid.
I learned over time about how that generally is a master plan, and I learned later that we have studied defector literature and we have defector testimony, and a number of them from all four countries, Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, have said that this is in their master plan.
I think it was a clip from this same interview where the guy says they estimate that if the grid goes down, 90% of the population will perish within 9 months. They don't even have to attack us, just cut the power lines and watch us destroy each other. This is terrifying to think about this happening, but it's a very real possibility. Prepare for this stuff while you still can. Be ready.
One's old book on weather vanes, which is lightning rods. They just changed the name over time. Now what's interesting is, check these out. What's interesting is it's inserted into the building, something new. And look at these crazy designs. It's wild, but check this. It gets really interesting when you get into this old book. Look at this thing. Enormous weather vane made of wrought copper and gold, leafed for a church in Illinois. What's interesting is those are conductive materials. Why would you want to catch lightning with copper and gold? Look at the size of this too. Look at these people. The thing is huge. This was on top of a church. Questions to ask. Now check this. This is the largest hand-wrought copper vane eagle in the world. Lawrence, Massachusetts. Look at that thing. Absolutely crazy. So then we look at this Old North Church. Look at this one. What's interesting is it talks about how these were originally put up in 1775, which, when you're thinking about that now, they had these gigantic cranes in 1775, and then there's some people trying to assemble it, which is interesting. And then you get into spires and steeples. And then you get into designs of the cupolas. Interesting. All to catch some lightning. And then you have windmills, which we know generate atmospheric energy when they spin. Interesting. We go over here. Hey, these are the ones that used to be made out of gold, brass, and had mercury inside of them.
There has to be truth to the idea these old weather vanes conducting electricity or harnessing power from the ether. Why else would you have something that conducts electricity mounted to the top of your house and entering down into the roof? Unless you're just trying to catch the place on fire. Am I missing something here? Is there another logical explanation for this that I'm missing?
5 people have been arrested surrounding the death of Matthew Perry, and this story is just sad, man. The people involved knew of his addiction issues and they took advantage of it to make money, and they knew the risks because they were doctors. One of them, known as Dr. P, sold him 20 vials of ketamine for $55,000, allegedly writing in a text, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." He wanted to be his go-to for drugs because he knew that he was spiraling out of control, so he just kept going. You see, Perry was receiving ketamine infusion therapy for depression and anxiety, but his last session was a week and a half before he had passed, so it couldn't have been from his therapy. But the defendants involved with this case would work with Perry's assistant to inject the actor with ketamine despite having no medical training whatsoever. The day he passed, the assistant allegedly did inject him, and then when a couple of the defendants had realized he had passed away, they texted each other, "Delete all of our messages."
This completely caught me off guard this morning. I had no idea they were even still investigating his death. This sucks to find out that his death was due to drugs like so many others. I was a huge fan of Friends when I was younger. I always liked Matthew Perry. Makes it that much sadder to know that this is how he went out.
Something bad is about to happen in the world, and this is why.
Yo, this is a bigger deal than people think, and I'm about to tell y'all why. This rare sea serpent just washed up on shore in California not less than 24 hours ago. And it's known as the Doomsday Fish, and I'm about to tell y'all how it got its name and why this is a big ass deal. Well, first of all, this fish resides in depths of 200 to 1,000 meters, meaning that it's hella rare for this fish to be seen on shore. And the only reason why this fish will come up shore is either due to sickness or illness, or there's seismic activity going on. And by seismic activity, I mean the tectonic plates shifting and things like that. Well, back in 2011, the strongest ever earthquake in Japan happened. It was a magnitude of 9. It was about 15,000 casualties, 6,000 injuries, and 2,000 people went missing. And it was just a big catastrophe for East Japan. It's called the Great East Japan Earthquake. But what does this have to do with the doomsday fish? Just a few weeks before that earthquake, this fish washed up on shore, and about 12 of these fish actually washed up on shore. So if 12 of these fish washed up on shore, it's for sure not, it has to do with seismic activity for them washed up like that. That's how it got its name, doomsday fish, right? But it just washed up on California shore, so what does that mean? Actually, 2 days after this doomsday fish washed up, there was a 4.6 earthquake in LA. Magnitude of 4, it's not that big of a deal. But y'all, it gets much deeper than just this earthquake. Scientists said that this earthquake ruptured on a small section of a fault associated with the Puente Hills thrust fault system. And this fault line goes through a large part of LA. Scientists say that this fault actually competes with the San Andreas fault.
Thanks for watching. As always, stay weird.
I don't know about y'all, but I'd be staying the heck away from California. That place just seems like a ticking time bomb. Every week we get another reason why that place is the scariest or the most dangerous place to live in the United States. I'd be scared to even visit the place. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat and help me support the channel. Also, don't forget to post your photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.